Well, good afternoon. Tony Virtue speaking, Virtue and Partners with our regular monthly update and a bit of a wet and windy one here in Manly today. Main news, I guess, it still revolves around interest rate policy. As you can see, the US dropped rates by 50 basis points last week, looking to drop that maybe 10 times next year. So the US actually lifted rates higher than Australia. And this is kind of the RBA message at the moment. We didn't go as hard, so we don't have to go back as quickly. We kept rates static yesterday, but the CPI came out at 2.7, and it was kind of supported by some government subsidies to electricity, etc. But the trend was pretty clear, as you can see in the notes, that, and importantly, inflation is coming back to trend. One of the points to really be across with this is that one of the most expensive parts of high interest rate policy is capital being wasted on interest payments that could be more usefully put into hospitals, education, etc. there. So where this sits at the moment is that rates will fall. It's just a case of when, not whether. The bond market now actually ascribing today a 75% likelihood of rates coming before Christmas and 150 basis points by this time next year. So that's quite a significant drop in rates. Markets already got the taste of this. You can see equity markets, both in Australia and globally, now at all-time highs. China has done what it needs to do, which is to reinvigorate their own economy. That's very, very important for the resources sector in Australia there. They've dropped rates by 50 basis points. They've reduced the amount of deposits you need on a property. So they were going to do what they need to do now to stimulate. The risk now, of course, is that there's an overreaction. And the RBA today is saying, look, if we drop rates, you're all going to go and buy more property. That's going to stimulate the whole thing. So there's a lot of moving parts with this, not least now some scuttlebutt, can I say, that the Labour Party will consider changes to capital gains tax and to negative gearing. Obviously, when you've got interest rates that are higher, the government's actually having to pay you back money because your rent is less than your mortgages. Now, there's obviously a lot of political movements moving on with that. Key to this, again, is to stay resolute. Markets do go through processes. You only really drop interest rates if things aren't going so good. That is the truth of things. So if interest rates do drop too quickly, maybe there's a message there that unemployment is going up, or certainly underemployment is going up there. So I think it's a case of being steady at this time. See that there is a global move now, as you can see in the notes, to interest rates falling. We do sadly have two major world wars on at the moment. We have an election for president in the US in 6 weeks. So it wouldn't take a lot to knock things off their dial and for confidence to fall. And it'd be quite common now for equity markets to fall 5–10%. They've done that historically, and they've done that twice this year before rebounding up again. Finally, there is quite a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on out there. Generally, as rates fall, that's better for smaller companies, get access to funds, etc. So we just need to just be careful as we work our way through this. But you'd rather be in Australia than anywhere else. Rates were lifted to a lower level. They will come down probably at a slower pace. That is actually a good outcome in what is happening there. The earnings season to the end of June that's now completed. Results were quite good. Dividends, as you can see in my notes, touching 100 billion for the 6 months, half of which came from those 4 banks. What you should expect now is a bit of rotation out of the banks into resources as China stimulates. Property sector, well, still very heavily driven by net migration. Obviously, we're still battling with supply issues. 3 levels of government doesn't help when you need to get things done. Net effect of that is that there will be some front running based on perceptions of where markets will be next year. I think the key to this is just to be calm, don't over leverage, just accept that it will take a little bit of time for this to work out. And some days there's good news, some days there's bad news. But overall, the trend is probably more positive. Much of this has come out of the winding out of COVID. It does take time for something which is once in 100 years to feed its way through the system, and that's why you're seeing this equilibrium bouncing around, particularly in inflationary tendencies. I think that's enough for today. I look forward to seeing you all soon enough. Tony Virtue, when experience pays.